Shut up and sit down.
A couple of weeks ago, we saw a tweet from Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash saying that Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, Jay and Silent Bob themselves, were planning a live podcast show in New Jersey at a drive-in movie theater. We didn't think twice, bought some tickets, and on Friday afternoon, we hit the road. And if you enjoy this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe because it really helps us out. It was a gorgeous late summer day, so we put the top down on our old Mustang and enjoyed the views for a couple of hours. As usual, we had to fight through traffic, but eventually got over the George Washington Bridge and put the pedal to the metal. The show was at Bell Park, previously Bell Laboratories, but now a modern mall, referred to by some as the Hipster Mall or the Bork Cube.
Hey, I'm Simon.
I'm Ellie.
And we are on a road trip through New Jersey at the moment to somewhere called Holmdel, New Jersey, to see Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes in Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, the 10th anniversary, on a drive-in movie theater screen.
First drive-in movie theater experience. So far, it's been a lot better than I was expecting. I figured that we got stuck in traffic. We're a bit late leaving home. I figured we wouldn't get a good spot, but we got a front row seat.
So we're going to take you for a little walk around, show you how this whole thing works, and it's a pretty awesome spot, so check this out.
We even saw a couple of familiar faces when we arrived, Ming Chen and Mike Zapcic, formerly from AMC's Comic Book Men, and now owners of the Shared Universe podcast studios. We passed a small merchandise table with some awesome Jay and Silent Bob inflatables and headed into the mall. Wow, it really did look like a Borg cube, but we were grateful of all the food and drink choices, so decided to grab some snacks to eat during the show.
So we're going to get back in the car, tune in, and enjoy the show.
Peace out, nerds!
Or so we thought. We waited. And we waited.
So it's dark, and it's got a little bit cold, so I've got my cardi on. We're still waiting for Kevin Smith, but so far it is an hour after we were due to start, so this is pretty on point for him.
But eventually, two figures emerged from a black SUV that could only be Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes.
Hopefully we'll be starting soon.
By that time, there was a pretty great turnout, and the parking lot was almost completely full.
Well, we are still waiting for Kevin Smith. We're kind of excited, but it's getting a little cold out here, and I don't want to put the roof up. What's the point of having a convertible? But at any minute, we will see Kevin Smith, so we're going to hang in there, see what we can see.
So when they told me, they're doing a drive-in, real local, because we were like, where can we do a drive-in by us? And at one point they were like talking about Vineland. I was like, that's like an hour or more away. But they said, you would have been there, and then that's it. We needed all these people to get it.
We won't spoil the show for you, just head over to smodcast.com for the whole thing. But suffice to say, it was truly touching to hear Kevin talk about how far his friend had come in the last 10 years of being clean, and to hear, Jason's tales of how his daughter insists on watching him poop. Okay. Of course, the highlight of Jay and Silent Bob Get Old is always the section with imaginative but bizarre dry humping, and tonight was no different. We saw magical performances from Brian O'Halloran, Dante from Clerks, and Ming Chen from Comic Book Men. But best of all was our chance to finally see Jay and Silent Bob themselves getting it on. We may never be the same again. And just like that, sadly, it was all over. That's what she said.
So, we have just finally seen the 10th anniversary edition of Jay and Silent Bob Get Old.
It was really nice to see them reconnect. They hadn't done this specific show together for a long time.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah. Checking in with each other and doing sex positions, and it was nice to see them having sex for the first time.
It was beautiful. I've never actually listened to the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old podcast because, honestly, I kind of felt like the other podcast was so funny on the Smudcast Network, and I thought it would be a bummer to listen to somebody talk about sobriety. It was actually kind of uplifting. It was really inspiring to hear Jason Mewes' story, to see how far he'd come.
Yeah, it's nice to it being framed in a really positive way, so it's not like a loss, it's just how much he's gained like in his journey and in their relationship together.
Now we're going to go fight our way through New Jersey traffic.
Yeah.
Today is the day after we saw at the drive-in movie theatre the 10th anniversary live show for Jay and Silent Bob Get Old.
Now they're really old.
Now they are really... I don't know, I feel like we're all getting really old. And what did you think of the drive-in movie theatre?
It was awesome. I was expecting it to be in a parking lot, but I thought it would be just kind of like one of those anonymous industrial parking lots in the middle of nowhere with like a warehouse in the background or something. So it was really nice to go to one that had pretty much a mall. The mall itself was huge, big open air space, but it was really nice just to kind of go in there and pick some food.
Jay Mewes described it as the Borg Cube, and it really did look like a Borg Cube.
Hipster mall.
I've seen on movies, having never been to a drive-in movie theatre before, I've seen in the movies that you have some kind of a post next to the car with like a speaker thing on a wire that you clip onto the side of your car. And I was expecting that. In this case, you just literally tuned your car stereo into an FM radio signal, and it was clear. And I was really worried, actually, that we'd been there for hours just blasting away this soundtrack, and that the car battery would be dead. And the battery's kind of old anyway. But it lasted. It was fine.
I was also expecting some waitresses on roller skates.
Yes.
None of them.
Yeah, you lied to us, movies.
We had to go get our own food.
Yes.
And I didn't see any roller skates.
I guess this was also my first time even experiencing the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old podcast at all. And, you know, I think the 10th anniversary, the fact that the guy's been clean for 10 years is a big deal. You know, he's obviously kind of, you know, built a home and started a family since then. And Kevin talked a lot about that and how he's kind of regained trust with Jason Mewes. There was a lot of kind of personal bonding going on there that it wasn't as much of a comedy show as like Hollywood Babylon or some of their other shows that they do. But it was a good time.
And it was still, it was really upbeat. Like it was a celebration that he's done this, but there was no shying away from that he was horrific to be around. And it was clear how close that they were, that they both had completely worked through any issues around that time. But it was kind of nice that they were both so close. It was really optimistic of kind of focusing on the journey and how they got to where they are now.
You know, I've had no experience with addiction, so I don't know the best way to deal with things. But I've got to say, it did feel to me at times like this guy's been clean for 10 years, and yet for a while, every single week, they would do this podcast, and he would have to hear about what an asshole he was when he was on drugs. And I'm like, imagine every time we did this YouTube channel, we have to recount the times that we were assholes to each other and remember that. And like, I can understand why it's necessary to kind of remind yourself of where you've come from and how far you've come since then. But it did make me think, at what point does the guy deserve a break? Like, he doesn't need to have this thrown in his face anymore. But
maybe that's how he stays in the game. It's just that reminder that it doesn't take much and you can be right back there again.
Right.
That is such a fine line. And having that reminder of, like, you were really bad, but look where you are now, like, you're amazing now. And just, like that reminder of, you're not there anymore, and you have to make that decision every day not to be back in that place.
So the other major difference last night, of course, is that we had social distancing. That every other time we've seen Kevin Smith, and we've been lucky enough to meet him quite a few times.
And he always makes time. However big the crowd is, he will stay there until the last person has got their selfie.
Yeah, and not even just get a selfie. He'll talk to them. He'll make them feel like he's got some kind of a connection to them. He'll sign whatever they bring. Like he's so accommodating, and it definitely felt weird last night that the show ended. Like, we weren't allowed to be around where they were recording. The show ended, and Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith get in an SUV and disappear straight away. And there was definitely a feeling of, oh, okay, like I guess we'll go home now.
Yeah. No selfie lines this time.
Yeah, and I'm sure Kevin Smith was as disappointed that he had to do that as anyone else was, probably more so. But I gotta say, like, we as fans and we as humans were just glad to get out and do anything. Like, we've done so little the last 6 months, so just seeing some live comedy, some live entertainment was well worth the price of admission.
Entertainment that's not in our house. That was a big novelty last night.
Yeah, a screen that's not our TV. So we had a blast. For me, it was a really, really cool experience, and it kind of made me think I wouldn't mind going to some more drive-in theaters just to see regular movies, if not live entertainment.
I'm really keen to go find some more drive-ins. We're lucky with where we live, and I think there are 3 that are within around 60 to 90 minutes drive.
So from us at Nerd Safari to Jay and Silent Bob and everyone else out there, thanks so much for giving us a fun night, and go check out your local drive-in movie theaters, because they are safe and fun places to be. And we will see you next time on Nerd Safari.
Peace out, nerds.
Bye.
Shut up and sit down.